Hey guys, Sean Dickens here again. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about domain names. Your domain name is the first thing that people are going to see about your business. It is by far the most important beginning to your business, and you have to be very, very careful and very, very conscious about how you do your domain names. Um, the World Wide Web has got several different categories for domain names. You've got the .coms and you got the .nets, and now you've got .biz and .co and .us and .this and .that. But one thing that you need to remember is that most people, when they see a domain name or a website name, the first thing they think of is .com. And with that being said, you need to remember when you decide what domain you're actually going to use, you have to decide if you're going to use a .com, and if the .com is not available, you need to determine whether or not your name is powerful enough or strong enough to stand up with using a .net or a .biz or a .us. And that's possible very much. You can definitely get away with using those. But what you also have to take into consideration is if somebody else has got, let's say somebody else in your profession, let's say that you pick the name, money for, think of one, online business. Let's just say you have onlinebusiness.com is the domain that you're going to use. Or no, let's use network marketing. Let's use give me a second here, think of a good one. How about sevenfigureincome.com. There's a good one. So you decide, you brainstorm, you come up with your idea, and you come up with sevenfigureincome.com. Well, you go out and you search on the internet, and you find that Seven Figure Income is not available. Or sevenfigureincome.com is not available, but it is available as sevenfigureincome.net. What you need to do is you need to go look and see who owns sevenfigureincome.com. Is it another competitor of yours? Chances are very high that it is, based on what that domain name is or what those keywords are. The chances are very likely that sevenfigureincome.com is owned by another entrepreneur. And that's not a bad thing, except when you start advertising and you start putting out your advertisements that say, you know, come see me, you're attracting your leads and your customers. What's going to happen a lot of times is people are going to get curious, and they're going to say, well, why does this guy have sevenfigureincome.net, or why does this person have sevenfigureincome.net instead of .com? So they're actually going to put in sevenfigureincome.com to go see what that website is. You're going to get the curiosity people that are going to do that, but you're also going to have the people that just mess up. They were at your site last week and I forgot, what was that site again? Seven Figure Income, oh, that's what it was, sevenfigureincome.com, and boom, now they're at the other guy's site, or the other person's site. And if they're a master marketer, if they're a top earner, if they know exactly if they're knocking it dead on the internet, you just lost that person, and you can't afford to do that. So these are things that you need to take into consideration when you figure out what you're going to do. The other thing that you need to make sure you do when you do a search for a domain name is you need to decide what is it that you're actually going after. What is your target? What are you selling? You don't want to have a domain name that says blinds for less if you're trying to sell copier paper. You want to do it. You want to go to Google and you want to do an actual search on whatever your product is. And when you bring up your search in Google, it's going to give you the top keywords that's searched when people are looking for those products. And what you want to do is you want to mold your domain name around those keywords. Sevenfigureincome.com could be a great domain name, as long as those are the audience, as long as that's the audience that you're actually targeting. You want to make it very specific. You also want to make sure that when you search for your domain name, and we'll use the sevenfigureincome.com as a perfect example, you want to make sure that it's very simple and easy to understand. It can be confusing. Domain names that have numbers and have words that can also be substituted with numbers, such as sevenfigureincome.com. Let's just say, for instance, sevenfigureincome.com is available. That's the domain that you end up going with, and you pick that name, that domain, and you purchase that domain. You go into a hosting service, and you buy that domain, like GoDaddy or cheap site, cheapnames.com. I don't remember the GoDaddy is who I use, and there's a lot of other ones out there that do it. And what you have to remember is that people may not always just type in the number 7figureincome.com. They might actually spell it out. They might actually spell 7 out, S-E-V-E-N. So you have to look and see, and you also have to determine, do I need to make sure I've got both sevenfigureincome.com and the number 7figureincome.com. So, and it works that way with a lot of different domains. It also works for the number 4. You actually have 3 different versions that you can do with the number 4. You've got the number 4, you've got F-O-R, and you have F-O-U-R. So those are things you need to take into consideration when you're buying your domain name. These are all very, very important when you do this, because they can actually make or break your business. And it's very, very important that to brainstorm. If you're driving down the road and you come up with, or you're sitting there thinking about whatever, and you think, oh, this would be a great idea for a domain name, write it down immediately. As soon as you get home, go look and see if it's available. Those are some of the best times that you get your thoughts, is when you're doing something other than what you're actually trying to accomplish. And so take advantage of that. Make sure you write that kind of stuff down, and you never know when you will actually come up with different ideas, and when you'll actually have lots of different domain names pop into your head. And don't ever forget that you can never have too many domain names. I think I have a total of right now 30 or 40 domain names that I'm using at all different times, and I've got domain names that I've purchased, several years ago, and that I haven't even used yet. You can buy a domain name and keep it for as long as you want, as long as you keep paying I think the most expensive one that I have right now is $9.99 a year or $10.99 a year. I don't actually purchase domain names that are high-dollar domain names, which you can do that also. I should make sure and tell you that. When you go in and you find a domain name, let's say that you actually find one that you just absolutely have to have. That's the one you want. You like the way it is. Everything's cool about it, but it's taken. So you go in and you do what's called a whois search, and it'll actually tell you who owns that domain name. And you can actually go to Google and you can type in whatever it is .com, or whatever the domain you found .com, and it'll take you to their website. And if it's what's called a parked domain, and that means that somebody owns that domain name but they're not actually using it for anything, you can check to see. Sometimes that domain will be listed for sale, and it could be a reasonable price. It could be, I still think a couple $100 is outrageous, but that's possible. But then there's also domains out there where people actually go out, and that's what they do, is they think of domain names that people are going to, they research companies that are out there, and they think, okay, this company's probably going to want this domain name at some time. So they'll go buy it, and then they'll list it for sale, and they'll list it for thousands and thousands of dollars. I actually saw one just a few weeks ago that was listed for $50,000 for a domain. That to me is ludicrous. That's way out there. There's no reason for that, but it is possible. So if you ever come across a domain name that you absolutely have to have, you can buy that. But always think about, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of domain names out there, and there's so many more. All you have to do is think about it, brainstorm. You don't have to have the .com. You can get away with .net. You can get away with .biz. You can get away with .info. .info is a great one also, by the way. When I buy my domains, I actually buy the .com, the .net, and the .info. I buy all 3 of those with every one of the domains that I buy. And the reason is because there are certain instances where I will actually use my .com for a business that I've got actually active, and I'll use the .info to send people to. Maybe I've got an information page, and it works great if I just want them to see new info, or I'll use the .info as one of my capture pages. So there's lots of different options that you can use. By having multiple, by having the .com, the .info, and the .net, you can actually do a lot of split testing, and so you can run different campaigns, all of them going to the same website. So it's going to be whatever it is .com, whatever it is .net, whatever it is .info. So they're all going to the same place, but you can actually see, you can track which one of those is getting the most leads and the most captures, and so you can start and you can fine-tune what your actual websites are doing or what your actual your advertising is doing. So there's lots of different options with domain names. Just remember that your domain name is very, very important, and it's something that you do not want to skimp on. You need to do a lot of thinking. Think about what your business is going to be. Lay out your business plan. Get everything set up the way you want it, and then figure out what your domain name is. I hope this helps, and I look forward to seeing you again.